Okay, so in this video, we're going to show you how to assemble our Tealight garden. And it's actually fairly simple, and I'll show you how it all goes together. Basically assembling two boxes and then wrapping a panel around the top box. So we're going to start with the bottom box, okay? And to assemble that, we're going to take these four pieces here and create a wall, so to speak, and then just close it up with a top and a bottom. So the first thing we're going to do is just make sure that we get everything nice and folded on the score lines, just get that prepped. And what we want to do is just alternate these pieces. You want your texture side out. Okay, so we've got texture side here. We're going to take this triangular tab and glue it to its neighbor. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right on this guy here and just glue him to the neighbor. You want to get that nice and lined up at that little score mark there. Okay, and just hold that, wait till it's dry. Then we're going to take the next long piece and we're going to glue that in place behind its neighbor. Okay, so just hold that down until it's good and dry. And then we can get that last piece glued into place. And just pop a little bit of glue on that little triangular tab and glue that into place and hold that down like so. And then we're just going to form a box. I'm going to take this tab here and glue it to the inside of its neighbor. So pretty straightforward so far. Not much to it. Just be patient, make sure that it gets a good grip. Hold it in place. Okay. And once we're sure that it's nice and glued, we can bring these tabs in. And that's why, again, I recommend getting these score lines creased. Because sometimes if you're doing the initial bend on a score line, there's more resistance, and if your piece isn't completely glued into place, you're just adding unnecessary, pressure to those little segments that you just glued. Okay, but at this point, all we're doing is closing this up with this piece here, like so. Okay, so go ahead and put glue, get some glue right in the middle here, and then we also want to get some glue out to the edge. Okay, I don't want to go all the way to the edge because then it's going to smear out, but do your best to get it close to the edge, and then when you put your paper down, it will, or it should at least sort of push out and make its way out to the edge. Now, the way that my glue is behaving today, I can actually put a nice, really, really thin line up to the edge without really having to fear about it squirting out too much. So the cool thing is that you have two sides to work with here. So whichever side ends up looking better, that can be your top side. Okay, so do your best to get that nice and aligned. Just kind of look at it from all sides there. Run your finger along the edge just to make sure that you've got that nice and aligned. And you can actually flip it over and push down from the inside since we still have access to it. That first side that we're doing is probably going to be the better side because we do have access to the inside and can really kind of get that glue into place. And then we just want to close this up. Okay, so again, glue here on all these tabs, and then of course do your best, whatever method you have, to get that glue out to the edge so that it's got a nice tight seal on the edge. That is the main objective for this piece here. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to pop these out a little bit, so as I push down, it grabs more surface area on this piece that I'm putting on right now. Okay. And just kind of hold that in place initially, just to let that glue set partially. Okay. And then you can kind of go around and push down a little bit. So there's your base, okay, and that is what the garden is going to sit on. Okay, now as you can see in the final version here, there are some gold foil strips that go around the base. There's 2 longer ones, 2 shorter ones, and you just want to affix those to the side like so. So you can do that on all 4 sides for the little panels or the little strips, and that takes care of your base. Okay, now we're going to move up and work on the next section here, and that is the actual box section that houses our little Tealights. Okay, you've got the top with the holes, and then you've got the bottom. There's also this, in this case we're showing it in a yellow. We actually cut this out of a gold foil. So you can actually put this on now. It might be easier to put this on right now. So get that glued in place. And let's go ahead and assemble this box. And it's actually pretty straightforward. I probably don't even need to show you this because it is that easy. But let's go ahead and get these score marks scored and bending into place. Okay, and then we are going to flatten it back out just so that it's easier to work with. Okay, and just like we did before, we're going to glue these side by side. So I probably don't really need to show you that, but I will. Okay, let's just get that glued into place. Make sure that you've got it butted right up against that score mark and that the horizontal score marks are nice and even and on the same plane. Okay, and you're going to alternate. You're going to glue this one to its neighbor, like so. Make sure it's nice and even. Give it a second to dry. And while that's drying, let's get the last one into place. Glue. And just pop that down. Like so. Okay. So that's pretty dang easy. Okay. And again, I'm just going to fold these in. And we've got another little structure. I'm going to connect these 2 segments here. Like so. Okay. Now as you can see there, I didn't let that dry long enough, but for the sake of the tutorial, it's okay. All right, so again, probably want to work on the top first. So I'm going to just discard this piece. Yours is going to be glued on. And we're going to put glue on these tabs, a nice little line in the middle, and then work a little bit to the edge so that we get a nice clean seam on the edge. Okay. And again, I said you want to work on that top part first because we do have a little bit more control over how it's going to look since we can actually get our fingers in from the other side. So do the top first, and then the bottom's going to be hidden away anyway, so we don't need to worry about as many imperfections. Okay, and then we can flip it over and get those tabs to really grip. Okay, so that looks nice. And we're going to close it up. Now actually, I don't need to show you that. You're just going to glue that right on top there. Okay, and at this point, you can go ahead and glue that into place as well. Okay, so actually, I am just gonna go ahead and pop this on. I'm just gonna fudge it just so that you guys can see and are on the same page with me here. So we'll close that off and give that a second to dry. That wasn't so bad. Probably should have just done that in the first place. And then we're gonna go ahead and put glue on this entire piece here. And my glue bottle is getting clogged up. And you want to do your best to center that and get that glued into place on the base. Okay, so all that's really left to do is add our little decorative sides, and centered that pretty well. Pretty happy with that. Okay, so let's take a look at this structure here. Okay, you've got two main sides. Okay, you want to make sure that you've got your texture side up so that you can maintain a nice consistent look. And then you've got the two side pieces. Get your texture side up like so. And let's go ahead and just put this thing together real quick. It's pretty straightforward. All we're doing is we've got these decorative panels here, okay, and we have some vellum pieces. Okay, and what we're doing is we're sandwiching the vellum between the purple piece and the decorative panel, okay. Okay, so I would suggest taking and gluing the vellum to the panel. That way you know exactly where to place your glue, okay. There's a very, very, very tiny little border above the vellum here. It's almost non-existent, but it is there just a little bit. So what you want to do is the glue is just going to be put on this top section. The vellum does not cover any of the bottom cutouts there. Okay, so do your best to cover this top area with little dots or little lines of glue just to make sure that that vellum stays in place, and try not to go up to the upper edge of this cut because part of the vellum does not cover that section, okay? So do your best to get your glue in these little areas here. Tiny little dots is all you need in those little intricate areas. It just needs to hold, okay? Do your best to get that on there. You probably want to put a little bit more than I'm doing. Okay, but I just want to show you where and how this gets aligned. So again, just do your best. There we go, okay. And you're going to repeat this process twice because you've got two of these. Okay, so we're just going to get that glued into place. You've got a little bit of margin of error here if you need it because the vellum, that looks great actually. So that came out perfect, and I really didn't need that much. The vellum is a much lighter material. It doesn't really need as much to stick, okay? And then we're going to simply take this and glue this right onto this strip here, okay? And that is going to have a little border, and you're going to use the bottom cutouts as a guide to help you align this piece, okay? So do your best to get that aligned and get that glued into place like so. The side pieces are exactly the same, okay? You're gonna glue the vellum onto the panel, like I mentioned, okay? There's gonna be a really, really tiny little border up at the top, as you can see, okay? So get that glued down, and at this point, what you want to do is, get all your vellum glued to the panels like I did, and then what we're going to do is we're going to glue this onto here, as I mentioned. And again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue on the actual panel, okay, because I know that this is all going to be covered up. So if you want to do dots, if you want to do lines, either way is fine, whatever works for you. Just make sure that you've got it nice and spread across the design so that all parts of this thing hold up and stick. Just try not to get glue in the open cut areas over the vellum, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, so again, just whatever method works for you. Get your glue on there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue it right onto this guy here. Use those bottom cutouts to help you with alignment. Okay. There you go. Just like so. And we've got some score lines here. So we want to get those nice and bent. And next step is to glue this onto the side here. You're going to glue this side first, and then you're going to glue the other one onto the other side. And then finally, these pieces here are going to overlap these little corner pieces here, and that should match up perfectly as well. So that's really it. I don't think I really need to show you that. Once you have all of your panels, the side ones and the front and back ones, with the vellum and the panel, you just glue them on to the side. Obviously they only fit on one side. The longer one goes on the longer side and vice versa. And then you close it up with this piece here after you put your panel and vellum in place as well. So the final design looks like this. It's really pretty. You can do it in whatever colors you want. These Tealights, I got these. These are 1.75 inches tall, and I got these at Joann's, but I'm sure you can find all sorts of Tealights in various sizes all over the place. This is not going to work with the small ones. I mean, you could technically put a small one in there, but it's going to rattle around. So you do want one that's at least, a ½ inch tall. The 1.75 inch Tealights are perfect for this, and makes a really beautiful centerpiece. So that's pretty much it.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.